Hey everyone, welcome to this remote episode of Press Any Key. Mike has monkeypox, so he can't come over.
I didn't shit.
And who saw that
I
coming?
do not have
That's why we're
shit like
for the
monkeypox.
the next few weeks we're doing mobisodes.
Dude, I'm not even like
Can't
near
catch us. We're always on the
hitting.
move. You can't catch us. But no, we're just chilling.
Monkeypox. You get once you slow down, that's when it gets you.
Yeah. No, we don't have time for our normal show this week, so we just want to cover some of the big stuff this week. And first thing was, Nick, I can't imagine you being in a happier place when the news came out that
I'm on cloud 9
I
right
bet
now.
you are. So yeah, Batgirl got canceled this week.
No, that's not why I'm on cloud 9.
But
No.
it leads into
Yeah, okay.
what's
Well, that's
happening
not the order of operations.
here. Yeah, I imagine.
First, you got to do parentheses.
Yeah. So, total shock. Like, absolutely unprecedented in Hollywood. Like, even if it's a pile of shit, they always try to shove it out the door to see if it can recoup some costs. And instead, the new CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, David Zaslav,
Danny Kilkenny,
was just like, you know what? We should just fucking cancel it. So they canceled pretty much like a 90% completed film. It was pretty much pretty much done at that point. And so there's been some stuff that comes out, but here are just some bullet point facts. We don't got to get into it, but one, according to every source known to every major trade, this was awful. Like, this was so bad. The suits were cheap. The writing was awful. It was small scale. It did not have big stakes. The writing was just absolutely all over the place. Performances, they said, were okay given what they had to work with. But yeah,
it was probably like a CW type show.
Oh yeah, they said it was like
Yeah.
watching a bad episode of a CW show. Is one thing I read. The other issue that it had was not only was it fucking awful, but it was originally it started out with, I believe, a $70 million budget, and due to like all the COVID protocols and everything, it blew up to like $100 million.
Okay.
So the old regime, Jason Kilar at Warner Brothers Discovery, was streaming first. He was like, we're gonna subsidize by putting all the movies in. That's why they moved the Batman to 2022, because it was supposed to come out in 2021, and when they moved everything to HBO Max for that year, they're like, not this one. This one we want to make some fucking money on. But yeah, either way, it was a wildly bold move, but also it ruined all of their business connections with all of the production houses, anyone that they distribute with. They had to pay hundreds of millions of dollars out to studios to even put those movies out. They had to pay $250 million up front to get Godzilla vs. Kong on HBO Max day and date, like to Legendary Pictures. So, they were not willing to dump this on streaming because they could not justify an ROI, and it would have cost them like another, I think, like $15 million to get it in theaters, and they weren't confident at that point that it was gonna make any money, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, they just they nixed it. They're like, you know what? We'll just take the fucking tax write-off on it.
That's the craziest part to me. I'm like, you can just cancel an $100 million thing and be like, taxes.
Yeah. Variety has a quote from a rival executive studio, and I gotta be honest, it sounds like Disney Marvel. And the exact quote is, been working in this town for 3 decades, and that right there was some unprecedented shit. Like I said, when I saw that they canceled a movie that was on schedule to come out this year, I was like, this is gonna fucking change shit moving forward. Like, this is fucking unreal. That's not hyperbole. Like, no one's ever done that before. They also canceled.
Do you think it's canceled, or do you think it's shelved?
No,
like,
they
do you think
cannot
we'll ever see the light of day?
all if they want to keep that tax write-off.
Oh.
It will be on the internet within 5 to 10 years for sure.
What I'm wondering is that could be like the next Snyder Cut type of thing. Like,
No, shut the fuck
fans.
up. What are you
the
doing?
fans.
Stop.
Hey, dude, I'm
Stop.
speaking this shit into existence.
No.
People,
Maybe the other
people
thing
will
happened.
People will be wondering. They want to know, why was it so bad? And then in like 2 years' time, people will be so clamoring for it. They'll release it on streaming, and it'll do gangbusters.
Well, this this discourse around like, where are the Snyder fans now, bro? The Snyder fans don't care about Batgirl. All right, they don't.
No.
Like, they care about Zack Snyder. Like,
Did he have anything to do with Batgirl?
Fuck no. Hell no,
Yeah.
he didn't. But go on.
Just did it exist in the same universe?
Well, you know what? It's interesting.
Yes.
According to what people say, this actually lived in the Tim Burton universe. Gotham was styled as Tim Burton.
Well, damn,
styled it.
Now I'm upset.
Michael Keaton apparently played Batman in a bunch of scenes. There is a still of the two of them in costume on set that got released by the directors after the movie got canceled.
We talk about the worst part of all of this with Brendan Fraser not like getting what he needs to get from this. Did you see
honestly,
the thing where he?
Quite honestly, dude, this might have saved Brendan Fraser's career if it's
Did
as
you
bad
see?
as
It's
everyone
the
says.
saddest fucking thing. He was so excited to do this. He had celebrated his birthday on set and like brought a cake and like everybody sung happy birthday. Like the dude was beyond happy to do all of this. And then
and
that's the worst part for me.
With this, yeah, I agree with.
well, he was
like,
playing Firefly, which is a cool villain that they haven't used yet. But also, ultimately,
Yeah.
I've also heard that it came out to be it was all right. Like he wasn't a great compelling villain. Like Brendan Fraser was good, but once again, the material that they're given sucks.
Yeah, he and
And
also
it
like
could
his
have been
entire
like-
costume.
It could have been like Pat, like you were saying. It could have been fucking the end of the Renaissance.
I know exactly, and we don't want that so early. I
Yeah.
need him in something great, but so the fallout from this has been that first of all, the directors didn't know, none of the cast knew, none of the crew knew. It just happened. They didn't find out until I believe New York Post was the first outlet to run the story. And it was one of those times where I refreshed my Twitter feed, and that was the first thing, like posted like 37. I was like, dude, horse shit. The New York Post runs such bullshit. There's no way this is fucking shit can. And then the Wrap confirmed it. And then a whole bunch of other. I was like, whoa, this is really fucking happening. I was like, that's crazy. They looked at everything else and were finally like, this is enough. Like, enough is enough.
Things have gone too far.
So interesting tidbits. I think we should brace ourselves for. In test screenings, this had unfinished VFX. However, it still scored the same, if not higher, than Shazam! Fury of the Gods and Black Adam in test screenings.
Really?
Yeah, and they're still putting both of those movies out.
What does that say about them?
I don't know. I have no fucking. It could just be a dead audience.
People.
Yeah. So then the other thing is that Zaslav had the investors call the next day. And basically what he said is that DC, I don't want to misquote him or anything, I'm paraphrasing, but DC has been horribly mismanaged. They now have and are putting together a team for a 10-year plan to
It's the Suicide Squad.
to build a cinematic universe akin to Marvel. They are no longer being second fiddle to Marvel. And that Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman are integral to building that universe. So
Yeah, no kidding. Like
so
what a concept.
to build this house, we need wood, we need concrete. Like
even though they said they're doing a hard reset, there's still some things you got to know about. One, Peacemaker 2 has confirmed it's still coming. The Flash has been confirmed by producers and the heads of Warner Brothers. It's still coming. Aquaman 2.
That's shocking.
They've
now
sunk
it could be a
$300
tax
million into it.
Well, now it could be a tax write-off.
Well, no,
that's
you
this
can't
is
write
how
it.
it works
Listen,
now.
it's not a 1-to-1
know.
ratio on tax write-offs,
know.
everyone. The other thing is, at $300
We
million,
should just plan.
you
Oh,
can't.
we should try and make a movie, and then just cancel it, and then we'll get the tax write-off.
Nick,
Yeah,
this
dude,
is
it's
literally
called the-
tax fraud.
It's called the plot.
It's the producers.
It's the plot of the producers, and one of us has to get fat.
I'm gonna say no's on that.
All right,
one.
we'll flip a coin. If I have to, drink frozen or drink melted ice
So-
cream for like 3 months,
Were you
I
gonna say
said,
frozen yogurt?
I was gonna say frozen ice cream.
peaches and cream, baby?
It's early here, bud.
So, like I
And the
said,
monkeypox.
Peacemaker. Okay, so Green Lantern show on HBO Max still coming. Peacemaker season 2 still coming. The Flash, which they have reportedly almost sunk $300 million into, and apparently, and I believe it because it's Andy Muschietti is the writer and director. Apparently, it's very fucking good. According to screen testings, it's fucking awesome, actually. And they don't
It looks pretty cool.
And that they want quality to be what drives the business going forward. So if the Flash is good, they're gonna hold on to that because they sank $300 million into it. It just so happens that their star decided to literally go off the deep end. I read a tweet yesterday that said, "Damn, yo, WB is just wishing that Ezra Miller doesn't kill somebody until the fucking movie opens up."
How great would it be? They reboot the DC universe and they just cast Ezra Miller as the Joker, and they're like, "Be as crazy as you want,
Go nuts,
dude."
Go nuts.
Yeah, that'll hype the movie up.
The Batman
Honestly?
2 is still coming. So it's
just use that as your launching point.
Yeah, and listen, Batgirl wasn't the only thing that they got rid of. They got rid of that Scooby-Doo prequel, which was almost done, and it was meant for kids. It was going to HBO Max. Once again, too expensive for streaming, but not expensive enough for theatrical. At least it wasn't worth it. So they axed that one too. They got rid of a bunch of fucking movies that are on HBO Max and took them as tax write-offs, like that Pickle movie with Seth Rogen. They took off properties that weren't theirs, that they were streaming for licensing that didn't have large streams. So they were just like, yeah, we're going to just fucking do away with these. So
that's fine.
Yeah,
like I think that's
listen,
okay, kind of like
I
trimming
don't
the
care
fat.
because I
I did
want to
watch that Pickle movie.
I wasn't watching it, dude. Fucking, it was on streaming, torrent it. So
Yeah, I just it was one of those things where it's like, I'll get it. Like living near the beach, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll go at the time, and I've gone once this summer.
Yeah, exactly, dude. The beach sucks anyway, but the sun, there's sand everywhere.
Hot take.
There's wind.
Yeah, sand. It just gets everywhere.
It's coarse and everywhere. So then this is like I said, this is when Nick got all giddy. Is when David Zaslav said the words, "We are doing a reset." But also, what does that mean?
Wait, edit this and put music under me dancing.
Okay. But what does that mean though? Like, what is
It means the Snyderverse is no more, motherfucker.
But what do you consider Snyderverse?
Anything that has to do with like Batman versus Superman and the Justice League movies.
Okay.
Anything really connected to that should just go away.
All right. So here's the other problem that we have now. Ben Affleck's back in the fold. And the reason that he's back in the fold
is because Jennifer Lopez brought his spirits back.
Yes.
He is a reinvigorated man.
I love that tweet of him just fucking
on the boat.
Assed out on the boat. And it's just like, this man went through hell and came out on the other side, married to J-Lo, still Batman, and taking a nap on a yacht. Like, I raise my glass to you, good sir.
Yeah. I saw a tweet that was like the photo of him like smoking the cigarette completely like disheveled, and then that one, and it's like it's like something like, look at this king.
Yeah. So here's the speculation. It's not really like, this isn't confirmed yet, but this is what you can derive from the situation, is that one, it was just announced that Ben Affleck's playing Batman in Aquaman 2, right? Now, the reason for this is because, one, The Flash was supposed to come out first, right? So that movie was written to have that fucking multiversal like element to it. So Keaton was supposed to be the DC Batman at this point. So there is a scene with Keaton. Well, now that movie's not coming out, they were like, okay, we got to fucking change this. Like, for sure now, because the Batgirl movie that we were going to have that would establish Keaton in a multiverse is fucking gone. So they just cut Keaton out of that movie, and they replaced it with Ben Affleck to not confuse audiences. The multiversal stuff will come later with Ezra Miller's movie.
No. Oh, okay. He's still going to be in Flashpoint?
Yes, absolutely.
Or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, good. Because I just really want to see Keaton as Batman again.
Yeah, me too.
No.
And then, yeah, I mean, there's a whole Discovery HBO shakeup. There was this graphic that went out, like, of it. Dude, it's amazing how the rest of the world took that, and then how Twitter took that. Like, it's just like,
That's
this is what our
part.
data suggests, so this is our business plan going forward. And they were like, well, Data is sexist. So, like, that's how Twitter took it.
Oh yeah, I saw that
You know
one.
what I'm saying?
But I was reading like a Reddit thread about it, like, and they were like, oh yeah, HBO Max and Discovery, we're gonna merge them into one. And everybody in the comments was like, as long as I don't have to sign up for a new service, as long as I'm paying the exact same amount, like, I don't care. But that's probably not what they're gonna do. They're probably gonna make a new service. And it's like, everybody was saying, just do what Disney does. They have Nat Geo as a sub channel on Disney. Just add Discovery to HBO.
Okay.
HBO, people love HBO.
Create a network
I gotta be
conglomerate.
honest, not a single person who watches HBO watches Discovery, and vice versa. Like,
yes,
them merging them into one.
That's a fact.
If they merge them into one,
Nobody who's ever seen Property Brothers has ever seen a movie.
Is watching The Sopranos.
somebody had a tweet that was like, "Oh God, Peacemaker season 2, he's gonna be building houses with fucking Chip and Joanna, wearing little hard hats."
I would watch that 100%.
So obviously, we don't know what the streaming service is going to be called yet. It's coming summer 2023. HBO Max, however, they said they were going to get rid of, yada yada yada. They're not.
They just do like the name of it should just be like an acrostic. So it's like Discovery, and the O is HBO coming down. So the O of HBO just meets with Discovery.
It's just gonna look like a cross.
I'm fine with. Okay, so the other thing is that, like, there's no, like, Warner Brothers is a big studio, and all people like us, the weebs, we know what Warner Brothers is. But the general population, if they see Warner Plus, they're like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
HBO has such a legacy of being like top tier entertainment. Why would you ever move away from that?
Well, exactly. And well, the other thing I learned is that HBO and HBO Max are actually two different divisions at Warner.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So they're actually merging them together and reducing the redundancies.
Cool.
So claims.
Yeah, like Zaslav said, they've been not functioning at top capacity.
Yeah, and honestly, I know it's kind of a hot take, and I know there's like, oh, people deserve to see the artist's work and all this stuff. One, if that work turned out like crap, you as the artist would be embarrassed if it came out. And two, the other thing, this is decisive leadership. This is what you want at Warner. For years, Warner Brothers just floundered around and didn't, like, Christopher Nolan just kept that company afloat for fucking years. And then when he left, it all just fell apart in 2 years. You know what I mean?
I think, the sunk cost fallacy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think basically they've been like just operating under the assumption that it's like, we've already sunk too much money into this. We just have to keep going. Where it's like, you will do so much better if you just cut your losses. Pull the pin between those train cars and let them go.
You have to know when
and let Zack Snyder go.
Yeah. So yeah, and that's what the next 10 years. I find it absolutely hilarious that next year will be the 10-year anniversary of Man of Steel, and once again, Warner Brothers will be trying to start a cinematic universe with a Superman movie as its starting point with Henry Cavill. That is hilarious.
Is he's gonna remain
There's
Superman?
no confirmation right now, but he has to. He has to. Like, that's the only thing you can keep from the Snyder days is the cast, because the casting is very good.
But that's the thing, is he's great. He looks the part. He fits the part. But the characterization that we've seen thus far is what a lot of fans had a problem with.
Yeah.
It's like,
but that's from director.
But that's cause of your director and your writer.
Exactly. But you're concerned about your viewers getting confused. Are you just going to bring in, like Superman? He's going to look exactly the same, but now he's going to be like, bam, 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 bam.
I think as far as characterization goes, I think you got to find the balance between bam, 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 and what Zack Snyder did. I think you have to find that balance. You have to keep him interesting.
I'd say
tragic.
it's like 80-20.
No. You have to keep him interesting and tragic, but you can't have him be like a good old dude. They changed his fucking catchphrase about truth, justice, and the American way. Because America sucks now. Okay, so like you can't have him.
Wait. Zack Snyder doesn't think America sucks.
No. I'm saying DC changed his like recently because America sucks. So you can't have him
in the comic books.
Yeah, so you can't have him be America's Doughboy. You know what I mean? Like
I mean, hey, they did it well with the Batman. Like he did Vengeance, and then he was like, oh shit, maybe Vengeance is not the best.
Can we actually
They did it.
Oh, go ahead.
They did it really well with The Boys, and we have a Superman-esque character who, you know.
Can we talk about the fact that 10 years ago, Christian Bale's Batman was like, all right, guys, you got it, okay? We built this fucking house. We left you all the tools. The guys next door have a good fucking template. Just follow what they're doing. We'll all make money. It'll be a good time. Almost 10 years later, another Batman movie comes out, and not the same Batman, a different Batman, but he was definitely like, what the fuck did you guys do?
it's like fucking Donald Glover coming with the pizza and everything's on fire.
Exactly. So Batman left 10 years ago and then came back to save everyone's ass and keep this ship afloat.
Yeah, really. Like, the one reliable guy you got is Batman.
Good thing that came out of this whole mess, just flying by the seat of your pants mentality, is that the Ben Affleck Batman movie snowballed into one of the greatest comic book movies of all time. Like, legitimately hard to decide which is the better Batman movie, The Dark Knight or The Batman. You know, it's also like, what's your flavor of Batman? Do you like Ninja Batman or do you like Detective Batman? You know?
Yeah.
So, man, fucking that movie's so good.
And there's still time to grow. So, Robert Pattinson might become also Ninja Detective Batman.
And even then, Earth 2. They said it takes place in Earth 2. So like it's canonical. It's supposed to make an appearance in the Ezra Miller Flash movie. So like it's in that universe. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they can play with it, but they don't have to like fully commit to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, I mean, the comic books for generations have done hard resets. I mean, it's not like comic book fans are going to be like, "What the fuck?" You know, they'll be like, "Okay."
Yeah, it's just everybody else who
I do find
is,
this funny
the 50% of the box office.
I do find it funny that DC did the New 52 in the early 2000s, and kind of everybody hated that. So they did Rebirth like 10 years later, and this is the same thing that's happening right now.
Yeah.
Is like, which like, once again, in that 10 years, you got like two good great comic runs out of it. Whereas this, like, everyone's like, all right, we're gonna move forward. We're gonna have a clean slate. It's all gonna look good. And honestly, I don't know what to expect at this point.
I'm hopeful.
I'm hopeful as well. But once again, that might just be the fucking
optimism.
Yeah. Just being like, please get it right this time.
Please.
I would love to be proved wrong, but I don't know if they're gonna get their shit together. They have 10 years. And they can literally just turn and look at what Marvel is doing and kind of one for one copy it and pretty be successful. Yeah. But that requires a level of, leadership and logic that is good for the company.
I think that's what we have now in Zaslav. And the other thing is that, they said previously that they believe they can have a cinematic universe as well as one-off spin-offs and so I mean, keep doing Batmans. They announced Joker 2. Lady Gaga's confirmed. It's confirmed it's a musical. The trailer got October 4th, 2024. Like, that is confirmed coming. So, DC's still going to have some stuff moving along. It's just, you're going to notice one day there's going to be like we're definitely shifting directions. Like, we're definitely going somewhere else, So, these movies have lots of money invested. They're never going to, The Rock will literally never, ever have a movie go straight to
hungry.
He will never ever have that.
That's true. Maybe that's the best reason to have him in there is just because he'll bankroll everything else. Well, he's the reason you can cancel Batgirl is the fact that The Rock is involved with their
I mean,
movies.
Listen, say what you will about The Rock, but The Rock has a massive fan base, and that movie will make money. Like, it doesn't matter the quality of it. So like that's a straight up win for DC already. Like we got by default we got one on the board. Shazam, the last one was really good, but if it scored like Batgirl did and it's already completed, what the fuck could it be? You know what I mean? But I guess we'll find out. They do want to move it because it's going to get devoured by Avatar in its second week. It comes out a week before Avatar.
No.
Oh, yeah, no way.
It's going to get destroyed. So they do want to move it.
Do you think it's going to have the same like box office
Avatar
type explosion as the first one? Do you think it's going to be like astronomical numbers in the box office?
Avatar did not like have amazing opening weekend numbers. It had good word of mouth, and that
it's
that had a
sustained
marathon.
for a long
it wasn't
time.
A sprint. I think this Avatar is going to have massive opening weekend numbers, and then it's gonna
and then a steep drop off.
Yeah, like everything else. That's how it works. So, I
just want it to fail.
I know.
I just really want it to just like to really put a damper on that whole franchise. I don't want it to be a bad movie, but I just don't want it to, like, I feel like they put too much faith in the Avatar franchise. They're like, you're gonna like this.
Yeah.
This is gonna be your new favorite.
I like how you take them promoting Avatar so personally. You're like,
the fact that they planned 5 movies for the last 10 years, they're like, we're gonna do. Like, how about you gauge what people want? Do people want 5 more movies?
I will see 5 Avatar movies.
Yeah, but it's the audacity.
And you're part of the problem.
It's the audacity of it.
The sheer balls.
Yeah. Those sheer blue Avatar balls.
You guys are fucking something else, I swear.
Sheer
blue Avatar balls. All right.
And they created new technology, so they dangle and they hang.
They dangle and they hang.
Well,
as realistically as possible.
All right. I don't have a segue for this.
I got a little something I want to throw in the mix here.
All right, go ahead.
So this is just all right. So a couple weeks ago, we talked about how Armie Hammer is moved on from his Hollywood career to now selling timeshares.
Are you talking about the Stan account that commented on the
Yeah,
photo?
dude. So on Twitter and on Instagram, there's like a couple of comments that are just like Armie Hammer and Timothée Chalamet stans. I don't know if they're bots. I don't know if they're real people, but it's like this one on Twitter commented like, y'all need to catch the fuck up. And then like you go to their account and it's like they're retweeting like a post that it's just like, I love you, Armie Hammer. And then on the Instagram one, this one account commented, sure he did. Update your info for fuck's sake. And then the account is like a profile picture of Armie Hammer and Timothée Chalamet hugging him. And then there was another one. Somebody who liked it is the account called Love You Timothy and Armie, and it's just like all pictures of like that's their whole account. I'm like this is great.
Photos.
Fucking life, you weirdo.
It's so strange.
Listen,
like the community that's built up around them.
I get you can like what you like, but like go fuck yourself. All right.
I'm enjoying it. Like at first I was like,
I mean, listen,
who the fuck are you? But now I'm like, this is weird, and I'm into it. It's
totally fine if Armie Hammer stans want to comment on our stuff when we report the news on Armie Hammer. That's totally fine. But if they're saying things like y'all need to catch up, I want to know, what do you know that we don't about Armie?
I think,
like, are
I
you
mean, it could be that we're just
like,
late, but I mean, we talked about it a couple weeks, and it's now just hitting our social feed.
Yeah.
But hey, if you have something to add to the conversation,
by all
let
means,
us know.
Please.
We want to know more.
It doesn't matter how smooth brain your take is. I want to see it, and if it's bad enough, I want to put it on the internet and blast it out on my show so I can show everyone how fucking stupid you are. So please. So with that said, actually making people fucking stupid or look stupid this weekend was the movie Prey, because everybody had this movie tagged as being a piece of shit, and some people for legitimate reasons like, well, it's coming to streaming. It's got a low budget. It was made in secret. And the last Predator movie wasn't very good. So they probably don't have a lot of faith in this one. And then there was a whole section of YouTube that were like, women and brown people are not for me. So they had
unfortunately.
It was a whole shitstorm.
It was a whole shitstorm. And let me tell you something, boys. I was grinning ear to fucking ear watching this movie. So straight up, if I didn't say it before, we're talking about Prey. It's on Hulu right now. You can go watch it. You could, finish listening to this and then go watch it. And it is spectacular from beginning to end. I don't feel a big vote of confidence from Nick right now, though. However, I kind of feel like.
Well, let's hear what does Mike have to say.
We're doing non spoilers
Yeah, let's
first.
do
Yeah, just
non-spoilers
your first
I'll throw it out to
impressions.
you. It'll be fine.
First impression was that this is how you set up and pay off every little detail in a movie so perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
I was like the way that I will get into it, but just the way that everything happened, how you set up a environment without like doing overt dialogue and being no one looked at the camera and said this is what needs to happen or this is how we do things. Everything was done with like, you know, such a little dialogue that I loved this movie. It was so good. I was so happy watching it.
What about you, Nick?
I enjoyed it. I did feel that the beginning was a little bit disjointed and it didn't feel like
it felt like the movie started twice.
Yeah, the beginning I was like really worried in the first 20-25 minutes, and I wasn't bought in, especially because I felt like the CGI was really hokey in the beginning, like the ship and the snake and like the CGI just wasn't promising. But once they actually got into it, I started to really enjoy it, and I think the best comment that I saw on the internet saying this is a step in the right direction for the franchise because the 2018 Predator movie was the biggest piece of shit, and this is what the franchise needs to start moving towards. Like this is great. So yeah, I think overall I didn't love it, but I really enjoyed it.
So I think that what this movie proves is that this franchise is the Assassin's Creed of films.
Yeah.
It needs to just be
Jump
different
around.
people in different time periods every time. And what I appreciated about this movie when you're talking about a larger franchise is that number one, it was its own thing. It knew exactly what it was and what it was trying to do and how it wanted to portray. And I do agree with you, Nick. The first 20 minutes were a little slow. Right around that 29-30 minute mark, because I watched this motherfucker twice. That's how good it was. I watched it last night, and then I restarted it, and I got to the first 30 minutes where the lion fucks her up.
Yep.
And then she goes out to hunt the next day, and she makes the axe and all that shit. Right at that 29 minute mark is where things change. And like it's on another level the entire time. Speaking of another level, let's talk about the brutality. Holy shit, dude. Have you guys seen any other Predator movies? I just want to know. You guys have seen the original, obviously. It's a fucking classic. Have you guys seen number 2?
Yeah, Danny Glover.
Yeah.
Yep.
One of the moments in Predator 2 that always stands out to me is when he rips out the dude's spine and he's in the subway. He's like, "Roar!"
Yeah.
He swings it, right? When I don't want to ruin what animal it is. He does a lot of spine ripping in the movie, just to be clear. He ripped out the spine of the creature and like stood there with it, and you just heard that, the popping and snarling and everything. Like the imagery it's just like you can put it in a subway, you could put it in a jungle, you could put it on the fucking northern frontier of the United States, and it always looks awesome. Like that's what I feel like the movie did best. It was like, let's tell our own story about these characters, but let's just sprinkle in the Predator. That's what these movies do best. You know what I mean? Making it a mystery. Like, oh, that's how they figure out that he sees heat, or that's how they like figure out how to, you know what I mean? Like, it was such a breath of fresh air to see like the technology of the time figure out what's going on, as opposed to like every Predator movie for a while have been like, oh, we've known about these for years. They hunt, like, you know what I mean? It was like, like when she measures his footprint with the stick, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was cool too.
It was,
damn.
It was super cool. Like all of the fights and all of everything, I really loved. Like, there's like that major fight scene, like
it was just butchering people.
Yeah. It's like I love the mastery of his combat and the fluidity of the combat from him, which is something really cool. It's not like he's just this big bulky guy who's just like super strong. You can like, everything about him is so fluid. All of the kills he does. At one point, it's not spoiling anything, he takes a bear trap and he throws it at a guy's head and just clasps them together. Like, I was like,
what did you guys think of the Predator's design in general, like for this one?
I'm glad you asked, because that was one thing that I was unsure about at first. Um, all right, so this is going to get into a little spoilery, but rather than having the traditional metallic helmet, he's got more of like a bone integrated helmet. And
It's
at
like a
first
half
was
calf too. It like stops here, you know, his whole
Yeah.
mouth and like his mandibles,
His jowls.
his pussy lips are exposed. You know?
So at first I was like, I don't know if I'm into it, but I mean, like I'm seeing a lot of dialogue online saying that it's like it seems like the Predator is probably having his gear suit the environment, like because the Predator at the end of the day wants a pretty fair fight.
Yeah.
So he's not going to go in full, guns ablazing. But the one thing that did kind of bother me was that the face of the Predator looked more primordial. And it's not like the Predator has evolved into a more humanoid form over what 250 years to the original 200 years between these two. So it's kind of, to me, I'm like, I maybe having it look a little bit more animal, but it looked like a whole different breed of
it did
animal.
look like an angrier, more aggressive Predator. And
Yeah.
so what I like about this movie is that it's not like the other movies and where it like relies on lore and tries to build lore around the Predator. What it does is it takes the lore you already know and just uses it. So like we know that the Predator is equipped the way he is because he wants to have a fair hunt. You know what I mean? So like in that ship before he left, he probably picked his gear. We know that like it's summer out, so he probably wants to keep cool. That's why he's got, very minimal clothing on. The bone mask, I feel like look, don't get me wrong. I want to encourage this. Like now when they do the next one and it's set in like feudal Japan, like what does that Predator look like when he's hunting samurai? You know what I'm saying? Like, what does he look like? Not just the regular fucking mask and like the man, and there's different species of, I think they're called Yachua, I think is like the actual alien term for them. So like, for instance, in Predators with Adrian Brody in 2010, which I do like that movie. It's not great, but I do like it. It's a fun twist on the premise. The first predator the first predator that they find is actually like a normal like baseline Yachua, where the three predators that are actually hunting them are the bigger breed. I forget what their actual like their code name is, and then
Mandingo.
The Mandingos, the Mandingo predators are coming for Adrian Brody and all his friends. So I just felt like, it's just, and like in that Predators movie, there was two different breeds. So this one, I was just like, it's just a different breed. It's just, this one comes from this section of the planet.
Then I retract my.
And like I said about the gear, they suit up for what they need. So the fact that he was very bare bones, I was like, that would totally make sense because he's like, he would just fucking decimate these.
A lot of people are pointing out that his weapons often mirrored his opponents. Whenever they had bows and arrows, he brought out the three like metal.
Yeah, and then he
brought a spear out. Yeah, so that was cool how he did that.
Bro. What I really liked about like the outfit, and I'll do quick before you go into it, Pat. But
no, it's all good.
I think it like really showed the personality of this Predator, because like as he was killing things, he was taking their skulls and he was like melting like the skin and bone off of it and like studying the skull and like looking at it.
Yeah.
He did that with like the
He's
wolf.
Trying to figure out the
it's
food
like, Mom,
chain.
It's not a phase.
He's trying to
figure out the food chain, but he also really is like, bone is cool.
Yeah.
Like, so he's like, let me get a bone kind of thing with
like,
that. And I think it's just like a very like raw and rugged Predator is this guy. He's not,
So we'll get more into the Predator himself in spoilers, but let's talk about the cast for a second. First of all, Amber Midthunder is her name, who plays Naru. She is incredible. She's great the entire time. She has very little spoken dialogue, and yet I understood everything she was saying and going through while it was happening on screen. Number two, shout out to the bear. Okay, that bear came for that fucking Predator twice. And only when it was like, nah, fuck this, I'm done, did that Predator decide to take a bath in its blood. All right, so shouts out to the bear.
That was, I think, one of my favorite parts was when it fought the bear.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. That was incredible.
Dude, when the bear runs at it, we'll get into it in spoilers. I don't want to ruin it.
Well, that's in the trailer. That's not a
And
big
he
old
just
spoiler.
backhands that son of a bitch, and it falls
Yeah.
over. And then the red blood is so much more vibrant because it's nothing but a green and blue palette. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's so good.
It's just
good.
it's justification
So-
and revenge for the Revenant.
I don't know the young actor's name who played Tabe, or is it Tate?
Was it the brother?
It's Dakota Beavers. This is his
Dakota
name.
Beavers. Well, good on you, Mr. Beavers, because you're fucking great in this movie. They're all
Dakota
really good.
Beavers is in the fucking Letterkenny spinoff, Shoresy.
Mhm.
So if you want to see him in something else, you can check that out.
So, yeah, and I'm trying to think. There wasn't anyone like super famous in this movie, which was good too, because I didn't really.
Other than the Predator.
Other than the Predator, yeah, he's the most famous one.
The dog was one of the best parts of the movie.
What's his name?
Well,
Sari or
always.
Sari?
Yeah.
Sarai?
Sarai.
Sarai or something like that. Yeah. We're
Yeah.
butchering these names, but he's great too. And the best was, I was like, Liz said something like, "Is that a CGI dog?" And the one part where they have these beautiful tracking shots in all of this movie. And
Yeah.
when she comes from the camp and they do that, they track her coming this way and then she stops at the one point and then they track her coming back this way. When that dog is running up next to her and at one point he clearly catches his attention behind the camera, and then the trainer was like, because he stops and he looks and then he just turns around and keeps following her. I was like, that's a real dog.
That's a real
no
dog.
fucking
That
CGI dog would do that.
That dog was a handsome dog.
Dude, honestly,
Like
I was looking
stunning
at that
good
dog,
looks.
I was like, I know why
Big
this
ol'.
dog got the role, and that's because this is the best looking mutt I have ever seen in my life. Like, that
Oh,
dog
yeah.
doesn't know what it is, but it knows it looks good. You know? No purebreds
He
on this
goddamn
set.
knows how to act.
So you were talking about the the long tracking shots. I was watching this at a friend's house last night, and I don't know if they had maybe it was their TV, but I felt like this was shot in an incredibly high frame rate, or at least that's the way it appeared.
That if you're
'Cause
what type of TV did they have?
I don't know. I was like, they're not like techie people, so
Yeah.
I was like, what kind of TV is this? And they're like, it's a TV.
Is it like a flat screen with interpolation? Because that would make it look.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah,
I
because
know.
that would make it look that way.
It looked unsettling to me because it felt like it didn't have that filmic quality
That
to it.
cinematic.
It
grain.
was
yeah,
totally
it's gotta
the
be the
TV.
TV
It was the
interpolation.
TV.
I think that's another part that
Tom
brought me out
Cruise
of it.
Put
which
out
is
a PSA saying to turn that off so you can watch films at home and enjoy them.
it's crazy that
Honestly, yeah.
they ever thought that was a thing that people wanted.
Well, it's good for gaming. Like, it's good to have for gaming,
Yeah.
and it's
But
good. It's good for
and for
sports.
sports.
Similar level
It's good
yeah.
for-
television.
It's good for sports too, so you don't have people ghosting across the screen. So
Yeah,
I
like, you
get
can see
why.
the ball and track
and
it.
like, what do they market on those TVs? Sports. You know what I mean? Like, there's very
I guess.
specific TVs for watching movies, and like, either way though, I think this movie is shot masterfully. I think every shot not only is beautiful, but it also tells the story and builds the environment. How the characters move through the scene, how the story is being told over the landscape. You know, like that type
Yeah.
of shit. You can see the way the animals act in the scenes is different because the predator is becoming more prominent in the area and is building himself on the fucking food chain. Like
Yep.
that type of shit, that type of storytelling is what's going on here.
He's like, I'm bigger than you. I'm higher on the food chain.
Part,
But yeah, that's
part
like
with the,
a
part
that's a
with
really
the snake is fucking genius.
yeah. That's a super good point where it was like the environment itself was a character,
Mm-hmm.
which would make complete sense for, like the Comanche back then at that time, like working and like fighting against the environment, fighting with things. Like the lion in the very beginning is a nice little predecessor showing both the predator and its natural environment.
Yeah.
And yeah, I loved all of the like super wide pulled back shots in this movie. Like they really could have done
The
a lot
action
of
was
like
filmed
really, yeah,
beautifully.
they could have done a lot of really tight, really up close shots to like do more dramatic effect or whatever. Like, but I'm glad they didn't.
I think that
Like, I
that
like
goes
the
into
background.
the fact that like a lot of people are saying that's what makes a good Predator movie is it's not a Predator movie. This is a movie about natives and a predator is dropped into it. So it's like they were really trying to like really nail that movie about the plains and the natives and their interactions, with the environment and with the French trappers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's everything is about the like natural order of things in that environment, the food chain. We just slowly get up that, and we get into spoilers now. Is that?
Well, that's what I was gonna get to. I'm just gonna say, like, so yeah, I think overall,
Pat was just responding to the Army Hammer stands.
Yeah, it's going down. No,
it's going down.
I think overall, what you need to take away from this is that this is exactly what it means to be. It's not trying to tell a big, overly complicated story. However, it features a diverse, standout, well-written cast with a story about, tribalism and tradition and, breaking the mold and, rising above and all these really good thematic, I guess you could say, tones for the movie. Because I don't how, because it still has that eerie horror tone about it. You know what I mean? Where there's all these themes at play. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it is a more than satisfying entry in the Predator series that has been desperately needing one since the first film. So I'm glad they finally figured this shit out. It only took them 35 years.
I think there's 7 films technically in the franchise, and I think this would probably land in the top 3 easily.
Oh yeah, it goes Predator, Prey, and Predators for me. That's my top 3.
I think I have to rewatch this one again and probably rewatch Predator 2. Is Predator 2 Predators?
No, because it went Predator, Predator 2, and then they didn't make any Predator movies. Then it was AVP 1 and 2, and then they did.
And then Predators was the one on the planet.
On the planet.
So I think I haven't seen Predator 2 in a long time, but I remember really liking it as a kid. So maybe it's time for a rewatch, but I would say probably for me it's Predator, Predator 2, and then this.
Yeah.
I think I'm closer with you, Pat. I also haven't seen Predator 2 in probably 15 plus years.
It wasn't good when it came out. Like it just has a cult following because it's such a big departure and so ridiculous from the first one.
Yeah.
But all right. Well, with that said, I'm giving this a fucking this is a 10 out of 10 for me. I can't find anything to complain about. I get it. The beginning is slow, but ultimately what that builds to and what character it sets up and how the story concludes and how it plays out is fucking unreal. So definitely check it out.
I agree. I've got a 10 out of 10 as well. Not necessarily because I think it's like the best movie of all time, but for everything and how it does it. I like every aspect of what I look for in a film on how it's trying to accomplish itself is checked out. So, yeah.
Damn. I'm going to give it a 7.5. But again, I think I need to rewatch it. Like I watched it at a friend's house. There was that TV issue. Like we were talking the whole time. So it wasn't like a really critical viewing like I've done with other movies in the past. So I'm 7.5, but potential for it to change.
Dude.
Yeah, like if you like these kind of movies, absolutely go see it. If this isn't really like your bag, it's still worth watching.
Bag, baby.
So
exactly.
We'll go into spoilers now, and I just want to start off with, so the reason that this went to streaming is because Fox has a pre-standing contract with Warner Brothers that all of their movies that go to theaters shall go to their streaming service first before it goes to Disney Plus. This was brokered before Disney acquired Fox. So that has been grandfathered in. So that's why this went to Hulu, because Disney didn't want to put it on Disney Plus. Well, they put it on Disney Plus in the UK, but that's because there's an adult section of Disney Plus. Whereas in the US, they decided to put it on Hulu because that's where they want to put all their R-rated non-superhero content. And if it went to theaters, it would have to go to HBO Max immediately afterwards. And they figured, well, it wasn't very expensive. Let's just put it out on Hulu, and it fucking worked. It was great. I loved watching this at home. However, my only downside is that would I have had a different expectation because I was going to the theater and I was paying for it? You know what I mean? Even then, though, once again, this film still knows what it is and what it's trying to do, and it accomplishes it very, very well. So let's talk about some brutal killings, because holy shit, you guys, we're in spoilers now.
Oh my god, dude.
Yo, the one part with the fucking net, the laceration net is one of the. I forgot they had that weapon. Like,
he just meat cubes him.
Yeah. Also, do you remember the one part where she said that she saw an explosion go off?
The lightning.
Yeah, she said she saw an explosion.
The Thunderbird.
No, she got distracted when she was fighting the lion. She said she saw. She said she saw lightning.
She's like, I saw lightning in the distance.
It's because that the French guys were fighting the Predator that night.
Oh,
and the way he killed them was with the wrist grenade. And later on in the movie, you see 3 of them go off, and she doesn't even blink because she knows what it is now. Like, that was fucking so cool. The tomahawk. So the tomahawk on the rope. Let's talk about that.
Dude, she's just
How
God
do we
of
feel
War.
about,
she's Kratos. Like,
once again, that's the shield from Captain America physics. If it was a worse movie, I would care more. But the fact that it's like, oh no, she's got this cool, like, she's trained, and like, once again, it's also like a fucking predator came down from the sky on a spaceship and it's hunting humans for fun. Like, if this bitch can throw a tomahawk and bring it back with a rope she made out of tree bark, I'm okay with that. Like, that's totally in the realm of plausibility that we're talking about. You know what I mean?
I also like that we see her become competent with it. It's not just that's not the thing where it's kind of just like, I'm a woman in a society where women are like gatherers, and but I can do this out of nowhere. And it's like, you actually see her practice in the woods, try, fail, learn to like change this. When she gets herself out of the mud, she like becomes very articulate with the weapon.
Yeah.
So, like,
and it's just nice to see any level of progress, even if it's from no skills to all skills, like, to show somebody getting better is great character development.
Well, that's what she says, remember? She says, I realize that I'm not a threat, and that's what makes me a threat. Because remember,
dude, at the end,
when she had her foot caught in the fucking thing, the Predator just dismissed her because he didn't see her as a threat, and he went after the French guys.
Well, he saw that they had the metal, and that was higher up on the food chain.
Yeah. Whereas she gave him the pistol with no ammo to lure out the Predator, and she took the medicine that makes your body cold. So, which, once again, like, what a video gamey concept. Like, that's why I can't, like, not only for the obvious parallels to Assassin's Creed, like, with, like, time and place, but, like, it's like, oh, so the Predator doesn't see you in Assassin's Creed Comanche because you take, like, herbs, whereas, like, in 2022, in this Predator video game, you actually take a fucking injection or something. You know what I mean? It's like, different place and time, what cools the body,
That's
for Arnold,
that's what
it
I
was
was
mud, like,
right. That's what I was talking about. Where
the mud.
What's that, Nick?
They did do a callback to the mud.
Yeah.
There was a big callback with the mud, especially like when she first falls in and gets out of it, and she's just sitting there and looks like pissed. I was like, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But
that scene gave me anxiety.
It did. This is exactly what I'm talking about, though, with like the build up, the payoff, like introducing something, showing it, and then giving it. Because everything with, like, in the very beginning when the bear, is attacking and she swims away, she's able to get away because it's like, oh, she's in water. And she doesn't know that, but it's like, these are little things that it kind of like starts to connect with her.
Yeah, and like, he can't go in water because if he's submerged, he loses his cloaking tech, which we learned in the first Predator, so he won't chase her. Like, that's the thing. It's like, once again, Dan Trenchberg, I think his name is, who's a writer and director of this film, he's a fan of Predator. So when his other film was Cloverfield Lane, another great suspense thriller. What I love about this, though, is that it reinforces that idea of, like, when you're doing a legacy sequel, give it to a fan. Like, look what we saw with Scream. It went to Radio Silence, the two guys who they did Ready or Not, which was a slasher hide and seek comedy that was very inspired by Scream, and the studio hired them. Okay, do Scream movies now, and that's the best Scream movie that there's been since the first one. So, like, once again, here you have that same model. A director who was a fan of the original, had a passion for it, an understanding of the art and how to bring it to life, and it fucking nails it. Like every beat this movie makes, they nail it every time.
Can I talk about some of the cool parallel, like beginning things
go
and
for
end
it.
kind of things?
Yeah.
So I have these written down because I was just like, this is fucking cool. And kind of like thematic things. So when she starts to get the upper hand on the Predator, it starts snowing. So you're like, the environment is further in her favor because it's even cooler, which I thought that served a really cool point. When she gets trapped by like, his big old shield and he's trying to like cut her neck, that's like a throwback to the Bear before, where she wasn't able to like, do anything and was just kind of being hammered and stuck in that way, but now can actually come out of it. There's a lot of really cool parallels between the Predator taking the skull and the head of the animals, and then all of the Comanche bringing back the kill with the head separated, which was super cool. And then my favorite of all of it was at the very end of the movie. She's had this face paint over her throughout the whole film.
They spoiled the ending of the movie in the fucking poster.
I know they did.
I realized.
I know. So she has the face paint over all of her face throughout the entire film. And then when she comes back with the Predator, it's now replaced with his blood.
Yeah.
Which I was like, that's just fucking cool.
Which is what the brother did when he killed the lion. He doused it in its blood. So when he brought back the Predator head and or when she rather brought back the Predator head and had all his tech and everything too. And she said like, hey, we got to move. White folks are here, so they're going to fuck this whole place up.
And she gets her vindication.
Don't worry about this. This is no problem.
No.
But the white people
there's only one of these.
Here. Okay.
Yeah. We only got one of these big old monsters. It's dead. Here, take care of it. But this is what I mean. Again, I have to just keep going back to it, where everything is so deliberate and specific, and the detail has a level of attention that made it so satisfying to watch.
Yeah. So let's talk about the future a bit. There is no sequel planned, but the way this was received, there has to be one. There has to be one. Because like it's finally, you got it. You got the formula. Like just make more of them and make them good. But there is nothing in the can right now. I'm sure they've had talks about it. I'm sure phone calls will happen on Monday morning, like because it's being very well received. It's the highest rated movie on Rotten Tomatoes for any Predator film ever, and it's also got the the highest whatever streams for an opening day movie on Hulu or whatever. I mean,
Hulu's not really known for movie releases.
That's why I'm saying whatever. By what metric does this matter?
Yeah. Put an asterisk
what it matters
next to it in the
is
Hall
that
of Fame.
people watched it. It was good and it was well received, and not just well received, like overwhelmingly positive. So I hope that they do make a second one. Or rather,
just another one.
Just another at this point. Yeah, just figure it out. So let's talk about the sweaties. You want to talk about the sweaties, Mike? Have you seen some of the things the sweaties are putting out?
I haven't yet, but before you do that, I just have to do a quick callback. We get to see major gutters on the Predator. There's one shot where he's like bent down and it's just rippled.
Dude, he's up there for best gutters. He is up there for best gutters this year for sure. This is my official campaign to nominate the Predator from Prey for best gutters. He's got my
our end of the year best gutters again.
He's got best gutters.
He's got the best gutters. Okay.
All right. What are the sweaties do? Oh,
I got a couple sweaties myself.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Nick. Tell me your sweaties.
See if you guys I'm open to see if you guys have explanations for these, but just a couple of nitpicks that I have that I was confused by. When the Predator is attacking her with the shield and she's got her, neck between the rocks, how does she get out of that? It's just like 1 second she's there and then just the next second she's gone. Like it just felt like super convenient.
She hits him in the face, and it's
with
how
that
she
spike thing
with her axe. I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
right,
okay.
Does that? I think it's that.
I remember thinking it was kind of weird too, but it had something to do with her kicking him in the knee or something.
That was just, that moment was poorly executed. Like it's not major points off. I was just like, how is she standing up now? And then the bigger question is the big finale, major spoiler to anybody who cares, is she sets up his own helmet to shoot him. How does that work? How does she control it?
She figured out that the arrows go where the laser's pointing.
Okay.
Because when she was behind the tree, the lasers were spread and the arrow fired a different way, but still like targeted right where the laser.
But why
hit.
was it? Why did it fire? Why did it like at the moment
because
that he was there?
At that moment, he got hit. Somebody hit him on a. He was supposed to shoot the fucking dog, right? At that moment, the brother came up and hit him in the face with the fucking thing.
Right.
So
Why did it fire on him?
The hell.
In that final moment.
In that final moment, because she set the lasers up to point at his head. So when
why
he
did
fired,
it fire?
So when he fired the fucking bolt, it went around.
Why was he firing when the thing wasn't even attached to him?
Because he was in a position where he was like,
well, they can still shoot yeah, they can still shoot that gun, like those guns that they have. They can still shoot that without the targeting system.
And it also shows that it also shows that in the moment too, like the whole film where she is continually learning and getting the upper hand on everything. It shows that like she's outsmarted him and put him in a position where he's going to need to react kind of like not necessarily without thinking, but react in like a fight or flight moment. So he's probably not like actively.
You can't overpower the predator. You always have to outsmart.
You have to outsmart him. And to me, that just seemed like a little convenient little Deus Ex Machina-ish. Again, it's not like I'm like, oh, the whole movie's ruined by it. But that to me, that didn't feel as clever as like how Arnold outsmarts the predator. It's like that felt like a cheap cop out kind of an ending.
But I was also glad that they didn't do the suicide explosion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she actually killed the predator. It wasn't like Arnold disarmed him or disabled him and then he bitched out. Like he fucking like she killed him. She definitively killed him
in the heat of battle.
Yeah.
Right. And I think too, Nick, if they hadn't shown and like gone through the thought process of her learning about that, if that happened at the end and killed him that way, I would have been like, that's so fucking cheap. Like, because that's almost like accidental. But it was intentional and she set it up. So that's why I'm not as critical.
Again, it's like I wasn't doing like a super critical watch, but I'm like, all of us were like, how did that happen? How's the helmet firing?
No, I can
on its
definitely
own?
see why
It's
that would set off the sensors, like for you, for sure at this point.
Yeah.
But I also kind of like, once again, I'm not gonna like shit all over the story and characters that they told and all the parallels because like one action scene decided to be a little cheap for like the sake of spectacle.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Again, it's just
like she
it's not
sets
gonna,
up that thing like 12 feet in the fucking tree. How did she do that? But the fact that she was able to know that the predator was going to be acting erratic and jumping through the trees, and he jumped on all the fucking spikes that she put up there.
Because she saw him doing that while she was playing the fur trappers.
Like, so she
actually
to me that makes more sense than her like oh, I understand alien technology.
Yeah,
now.
I love the
that's fair. Yeah,
I love the healing scene because there's a classic scene in the original Predator is the surgery scene where like the predator actually like administers like local anesthesia on himself, like cauterizes his wound and everything, and that's how he goes back to battle. Remember, there's a little mini kit that he has, and he has like the gun and everything. And I like how they finally brought that back because it also parallels like it's like at that point in the movie where their character arcs are switching over, where even though she's now becoming the predator and he is now the prey, they still have so much in common in the sense that they're both healing themselves. Like she's putting medicine on her wounds, and he's like, I forget what he does in this one. But I know he fucking screams.
He's got like a light knife basically that kind of just like recauterizes things.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed that. And then at that movie, at that point is when they switch places in the movie. Is where now the predator is the prey and she's hunting him, which is always it's always cool to see the whole swap go.
We also get the classic, if it bleeds, we can kill it. We get that line, which is always I was like, they have to put that in there.
Dylan! How come I didn't hear that classic line? No, Dylan!
Well, I mean, if you're going to bring that up, also we got to mention the gun. Bitch. It's the same gun that Danny, I almost said Danny DeVito.
So,
Danny DeVito gets in Predators too.
So now we're getting into the sweaty category.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the sweaties, because the sweaties, they fucking fell hard on this one. As soon as the trailer came out, I mean, there's Mike, I know you've seen it. It's going around on Twitter right now of all the thumbnails of all the regular content creators that have a very strong feelings about things that haven't come out yet, especially in the category of diversity. And Man, they ate some shit on this one, didn't they? Because like there's that whole thing. They were like, they were so ready to hate it, and it's all 4 of those thumbnails. They did this with Shang-Chi too. They had to eat their fucking.
Yeah.
But so the other thing was that like, so I get the whole it's just weird. Like it's just like the whole pistol thing is like. So you guys know that they paid that off already in a comic book, right? From Dark Horse Comics, like back in the 90s or whatever, right? Or maybe early 2000s. I don't know when it's from. Either way, though, they already paid that off. And like only the most fucking weird, hyper-focused of people would be like, they have to do this the right way. They have to get this right. Because the Predator, or that pistol is gifted to a Predator after a Predator is found wounded by the pistol says 1715 on it. So I don't know what the actual story is, and I'm not going to look it up. But what I do know is that the Predator is gifted that pistol
by a pirate, I believe. Okay,
by a pirate, because he found the Predator wounded from battle, so he nursed it back to health, and there's a story there. You do a movie. So the fact that instead this time the pistol comes from the Frenchman, who she just used to she learned to use a flintlock pistol because she shot him in the fucking head, and he was like, "What? God damn it, that hurt!" You know what I mean? Like he's not just immediately dead, but and they're going off on Twitter about they're like they retconned, they changed it's like, and I couldn't help myself. I did reply to one. I was like, not a single person gave a shit about Predator canon before this. No one cared about Predator lore. No one does care. Like, it's just what a weird thing that.
Except for that time that he fought Batman.
Yeah. I mean, apparently that's a good comic book, but also like,
okay.
Who cares about it's a crossover? Who gives a shit if it's in canon? Or not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I especially it's like it's the comic books. It's one thing if you have a comic book that's making the jump over to movies, you want that to kind of line up. But this is a movie franchise. It's another installment with a movie. The comic books can do their own thing. That's fine. Guys, they can be separate.
People have been begging for that fucking pistol to be in these movies for goddamn years. And it finally went in, and they incorporated it in a fucking smart and creative
in an organic, correct way.
And they are so mad about that because it doesn't follow the beat for beat, you know. And then let's talk about the other thing about the sweaties that they have to eat shit on is the whole diversity thing. Like some of those videos were just racist and sexist at some points. And now all of those channels have nothing to say. You know what I mean? There's no good point.
Incredible.
And like, there's some of them are doubling down on Twitter. Like these are those weirdos that say MCU, like those fucking weirdos. You know,
it's so stupid though. It's like, what did you want fucking John Wayne to like play? You know, like a Comanche. Like it's literally.
I've never met one person who has intercourse with another human being regularly. Ever. That uses the term MCU. Like
this is the first time ever even hearing of it.
Yeah. Well, I don't.
I'm not on Twitter
because it literally causes whatever sex you are. It causes dicks to go flat and vaginas to get dry. So that's why we don't say it. But nope, these guys are out here. They're used
the Shapiro effect.
Yeah, the Shapiro effect.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
So they're out here. First Amendment, MCU.
Dude,
Marvel is
now the Predator is woke.
Yeah,
exactly.
Dude, fuck you. The Predator's okay. So that's the other thing too, is that it's like this movie's so woke. First of all, dude, shut the fuck up. No, it isn't. It's not woke. It's about a Comanche woman in 1719. Who the fuck else is supposed to be playing this character?
What are you going to do otherwise? Like, please tell me.
Like, they didn't come in
and like, fucking Margot Robbie like playing the lead.
They're talking about traditions and breaking traditions and breaking the mold and becoming what you want to become. These aren't bad things. They told it through the lens of a really cool place and time with the fucking Predator in it. It's super brutal and it's awesome. And you're like, it's woke garbage. Fucking, we all know Disney's pulling the strings. It's like, what are you saying? Listen, there's woke garbage out there. I will level with you on that. But this isn't the one. This isn't the one.
Also, like are you really gonna criticize this for having like a female protagonist when Alien happened?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Well, the
really,
thing was,
what are you gonna?
The thing was, there was no internet then for the sweaties to just openly be bigoted on. You know what I mean? Like, and the other thing is like they always go back to that. They're like, Ellen Ripley didn't have to do this, or didn't have to do this. And it's just like, dude, who cares? Like, who cares? That's my whole thing. Is like, it's a good fucking movie, and it has diverse characters, and it tells a great story, and it shows a fucking positive light of Native Americans and not them being like savages or the enemy or like, you know what I mean? Like shit like that, like Trail of Tears type shit. Like,
right. You get the
shit.
French.
Yes.
Yeah. You get the French who are actually much more brutal, and all the French are calling they're calling them like brutal savages. They're calling all the Comanche brutal savages.
And that's the thing. And these guys are like, oh my God, dude, it's fucking 9/11 all over again. This movie. How could this happen? Like, that's what I'm saying. Is like, how much of a fucking loser do you have to be for that to be like, you walk out of this movie and you're like, dude, fucking woke garbage. You know,
that's what your
like,
hang up is. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Woke moralists.
What rules, you sons of bitches? All right. Well, I think we're good. Is there anything else? Like I said, the bear fight. Incredible.
Bear fight was great.
Bear fight's great. He smacks the shit out of that bear. Squared him up. At one point, I love when the bear literally bear hugs him and brings him to the ground. I like the part where the dog kills the bunny and the predator then kills the dog because
the coyote, right?
Whatever it is.
Not the dog. The dog. Not the dog.
The protagonist
dog
lives.
Yes, the protagonist dog lives, which is the best part, or lives, because I would have been livid if they actually killed off that dog.
And then the snake scene was cool too, where the snake tries to motherfucker, and he rips off the skin of that one. Like, and then it was like, I don't think it was still alive. I think it was just one of those things where it's like the nerves are still, whatever. So when they touched it, it moved,
That's the thing. If you cut off a snake's head, it'll still
try and inject you with venom. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll do that for a while.
Man, it's such a good fucking movie. All right. So I don't have anything else. Just that. Listen, I think it's spectacular. You should check it out. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. It's free.
It's also free.
Costs you nothing.
I didn't have to fucking upgrade my Hulu or anything either. I got like Hulu with ads. It's like $5 a month or whatever. It's like through my Spotify and shit.
Same.
And there were no ads, no cuts, nothing. It was all there.
There was like 3 ads at the beginning of the movie, and that was it. We didn't get interrupted.
All the other Predator movies are on Hulu, and they're suggested to you. It's almost like they're trying to invest in this franchise and move it forward in the right direction.
Oh.
Dude, I would love to see like a feudal Japan Predator.
I want a fucking...
It's definitely, if they're going to do more, that's definitely going to be one of them.
And
but also give me like the magical realism kind of things where you have like Sekiro kind of like enemies and shit, like all like the weird big monstery things.
That'd be cool. I think if they give filmmakers the space to kind of do their own thing and not have to worry about like, oh, does this work with the franchise? If it's just like make a good Predator movie, do your own thing, I think that's the key to success.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Pat? I think the best way to sum it up for me is like I want to see them do this with Alien as well. Like I want them to go back to basics and just figure out what made that first movie so special. And then, because Alien and Predator are the same world. They exist in the same canon. So I want them to take this now, do more Predator movies, do more Alien movies, and then figure out a way to cross them over again. You know what I mean? Like, figure it out. You could do it. You could figure that shit out. It won't be a problem. And ultimately, like I said, this seems like an investment and a good step in the right direction for 20th Century Studios to make a rip-roaring Predator franchise again. Can't wait.
No pun intended.
Nope.
Nah, he'd be ripping spines out of people's asses.
Ripping and roaring. Right, like, the ripping and the tearing.
Rip spines.
The wild women, the ripping and the tearing.
You know what I mean? That's what I want to see. Clean them like a fish bone.
Horrible.
But yeah, so that's it from us. Anything else, or are we good?
I have a clip if you want to watch it.
I honestly, I wouldn't even know how to get that into. Just send it to me and let's see if I can.
I can just share my screen.
Yeah, just try it. Yeah.
All right.
See if this doesn't catastrophically go wrong.
Nah, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
All right, can you see that?
Yes. Hold on, let me make sure the volume's up. All right, go for it.
All right, it's a short one.
And if you want something to happen to you and it's...
What? Yo!
Play it again.
And if you want something to happen to you and it's...
One more
time.
Oh my god.
And if you want something to happen to you and it's...
The thing is, this is from probably what do you think,
80s?
like late 80s, early 90s
sure.
or something like that?
80s.
The amount of hairspray and flammable product on this woman
Jesus Christ.
contributes to a pure white screen.
Dude, she's fully engulfed.
It looks like her microphone primarily is what catches fire.
Nah, dude.
Right?
I thought this.
That's
Yeah.
the microphone
but
right
Nick,
there.
it's not about. It's at that point. It's not about what's on fire. It's she was already
Her
in
hair's
the
also on
explosion.
fire.
Like she already got.
She
third
was
degree
the
burns.
explosion.
You know what I'm saying?
I was
if you
half
want something
waiting
to
for this
happen
to
to
be
you,
like. Have you seen those It's like a thing, kind of like a meme going around the internet now. Like someone does something and they fucking explode is like the joke where it's like they'll just be walking, they'll stub their toe, and then the screen
I have
will
not
cut,
seen this.
This is the OG
it's real.
ones.
Yeah, it's real popular right now. I thought that was this for a hot minute, and then I was like, oh my god, she actually blew up.
She actually blew up. I'll give it to you one more time.
Yeah.
And if you want something to happen to you and it's...
Also, the fucking like, if you want something to happen to you, and then she blows up.
Damn, yo, if you want something not to happen to you, don't sit on the back of a fucking truck at a goddamn dirt bike rally, it seems.
Dude, great
I wonder
clip.
how is it supposed to play out?
Well, this is a failure in safety. Let's just be real about that.
Yeah.
This is
Also
a
the
failure in safety from top to bottom. As in the sense that like somebody knew she wasn't supposed to sit there and didn't let her and her team know.
I think
And
she
somebody
was supposed to sit there.
Definitely did not let that dirt bike rider know.
So the
think,
the title of this clip is called "Mistaking Her Talking for the Cue to Start." So I think she was supposed to talk and then get up and move, and then he was supposed to go, but he was just like, "We're going."
Yo, that's
jeez.
That's why you need a tech rehearsal. That right there is why you need a tech rehearsal.
And if you want something to happen to you and it's...
Dude, she straight
damn.
up, like, goddamn, she straight up just gets woof.
Gets blowed up.
All right. Well, with that, I'm good. That was it for
Prey.
me. I'll see you guys. Yeah, with that, watch Prey.
Give us a sign off.
Yeah. Watch Prey, and we'll see you next week with another one of these things.
Mobisodes.
Yep. I'm in my mobile home right now. Whoa, it's rocky over here.
Don't come a knocking.
And Burke technically doesn't have an address right now, so
Yeah.
You don't get to know.
yeah. So, all right. Well, we'll see you guys.